The phone rang at 2:17 a.m. I didn't answer. I knew who it was. But it kept ringing. Relentless, insistent. Finally, I swiped. "Please," my mother's voice cracked. "We're losing the house." I could hear the fear, thick, suffocating, like it had been simmering for weeks and finally spilled. The words were simple, but the panic behind them shredded the calm I'd carefully built. I should have slept, should have ignored it, should have let them figure it out. Instead, I promised I would fix it. By morning, I'd abandoned a case that could have made my career. My colleagues didn't call. They knew me. They knew when I disappeared without warning. I didn't care. The house, my parents, my duty. The first check cleared. The foreclosure stopped. Relief should have followed. But it didn't. Something in my parents' eyes didn't match the gratitude they tried to force. They smiled too quickly, spoke too carefully. And when my sister texted me later that week, just a single line, "Thanks for handling the money." Something in the timing felt off. I ignored it. I wanted to believe them. Then came the small inconsistencies. Casual mentions of expenses that didn't exist. Hints of gifts they couldn't afford. My mother laughing a little too long when she said she'd had to scrape by. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I watched. Quietly. Carefully. One night, while reviewing some documents they had sent, mortgage papers, bank statements, I noticed it. A transfer. Large. Hidden. Masked under innocuous labels. 150,000. Not gone, not lost. Not invested for security. Just gone. And not to the house. To my sister, who had given it to some boyfriend's crypto opportunity. My hands didn't shake. Not out loud. Inside, though, a storm was building. Everything I had sacrificed, every sleepless night, every abandoned opportunity, every shred of loyalty. And for what? I watched them talk in hushed tones in the kitchen that night. I didn't need to eavesdrop. I could hear the betrayal in their laughter, the thrill of deception in their carefully neutral voices. They didn't even suspect I knew. And in that moment, I realized something crucial. I had power. I had clarity. They had underestimated me. I went to bed pretending to sleep, calm on the surface. Inside, my mind was already planning. Every step, every possibility, every silent strike. I wasn't reacting. I was calculating. Because when they asked for the money back, when they finally realized I knew, they would get more than they expected, and I would be the one holding the pieces. I waited. Days, maybe a week. I watched my parents move through the house with the same casual efficiency they always had. The walls didn't creak. The floors didn't betray a secret. But I did. I traced every transaction, every text, every whispered conversation. The numbers matched. The evidence was undeniable. $150,000, my sister. The boyfriend. My parents smiling as if they'd earned it. I didn't speak. I didn't act. I simply held the proof in my hands. Cold, precise, clinical. Finally, I called my sister. "I need to see you," I said. My voice was calm. No emotion, no accusation. Just a simple, inescapable demand. She came, nervous, fidgeting, trying to laugh it off. I laid the documents on the table. Bank transfers, screenshots, confirmation of the scam. She froze. "I see you got it," she whispered. "Yes," I said, "and nothing else." Then my parents arrived, panicked. They tried to explain. "We were going to tell you. It was for your sister. It's not what it looks like." I listened, nodded. Not a tremor in my voice. I let them unravel. Slowly. Each denial, each half-truth, each pleading glance, carefully catalogued in my mind. I asked one question. Just one. "Where is the money now?" Silence. Then, we gave it to her. "To invest." I nodded, slowly. And I left. Not in anger. Not in tears. Not in revenge they could see. I left knowing they had exposed themselves. I left knowing the power had shifted. I left knowing that loyalty was a currency I would no longer spend on those who traded it for lies. I didn't take the money back. I didn't make a scene. They had lost more than $150,000 that day. They had lost my trust, my care, my compliance. And for me, I regained control. Control of my mind. Control of my choices. Control of the truth. I returned to the quiet of my apartment. The world outside continued as if nothing had happened. But inside, everything was rearranged. I was no longer a pawn in their scheme. I was the one who knew. And that knowledge, cold, unyielding, absolute, was mine to keep. No forgiveness, no reconciliation. Just clarity, just power. I closed the door behind me, and the house, my parents, my sister, their carefully constructed lies faded into silence. I had nothing left to give them, nothing at all.